Hello Year 4 and welcome to day 29 of our home learning. It is Thursday the 25th of February 2021. I have learned to do something new on my laptop using the PowerPoint movie. Look, I'm here. Hi! Anyway, I'm going to tell you a joke. Okay? So why do bees have sticky hair? Because they use honeycombs. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go off, okay? So I'm going to pause this now for a moment so you don't see my face all of the time. Okay, I can't get me off now that I've started with me on, so you're going to have the pleasure of my company. Okay, so our early morning work. Darcy and Marlon played outside until 9 p.m. despite Darcy and Marlon needing to get ready for bed. Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to write that sentence down. So pause the video while you write it down for me. Okay, so you're going to replace the repeated nouns with a pronoun. So if you can remember what the noun is and what a pronoun is. Remember, a noun is someone, yeah, the names of the people, and they are repeated, aren't they? So instead of saying Darcy and Marlon played outside until 9 p.m. despite Darcy and Marlon needing to get ready for bed, you need to change Darcy and Marlon, I've told you the first bit, okay, to a pronoun. Think about what pronouns are. Number 2. Is the sentence in the past or the present tense? Have a look at the verbs in that sentence, okay? Number 3 is what word class is played. Number 4, identify the preposition. So which word is the preposition? And then the last one, number 5, identify the subordinate clause. So which part of that sentence would not make sense by itself? So what I want you to do now is I want you to pause the video, okay, and complete those 5 questions. Okay, so let's go through the answers, okay, and I'm going to use my other new tool and I'm going to point. So we have Darcy and Marlon played outside until 9 p.m. despite Darcy and Marlon needing to get ready for bed. So Darcy and Marlon are the nouns. It is repeated here. So I would change Darcy and Marlon to a pronoun which was despite them needing to get ready for bed. So the pronoun is them because that replaces their names, the noun. Number 2 was what tense is the sentence. It is past tense. And how do I know? Because I've got the word played. And played, because it ends in ed, it shows that it's past tense. Question number 3 was what word class is played? Well, when you play, you're doing something, so it's an action word, so that is a verb. And number 4 was until. Because that's the preposition, yeah? It tells you in relation to something else. And the subordinate clause, despite, is your conjunction. So Darcy and Marlon played outside until 9 p.m. Does that make sense by yourself? It certainly does. Darcy and Marlon needing to get ready for bed. Does that make sense? No, it doesn't. So that's why that is your subordinate clause. Well done for having a good try. Okay then, so our English, and we're going to complete the next section of our writing. So first of all, I want you to pause the video and read through your work and look at your plan to see where you are up to in your writing. Okay, so pause the video now for me, please. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to look at the success criteria on the next page, okay, and see what we needed to include in our writing. So we were looking at expanded noun phrases, and if I had any expanded noun phrases, I was highlighting them in red. Then I wanted you to use simple, compound and complex sentences. Remember, a simple sentence is one little bit of information. Compound sentences are two independent clauses, two simple sentences joined together with a conjunction. Remember, fanboys in a white bus. And complex sentences, those sentences that have got lots of different information. We'll then have using direct speech, where you needed to use your inverted commas and correct punctuation. I wanted fronted adverbials. I wanted you to use capital letters and full stops in the correct places. I wanted you to write sentences that made sense. I wanted your writing to be joined and neat and well presented, not a load of scribble. And I wanted you to make sure that your spellings were okay, and that you use a dictionary, to check your spellings over. Think about the work that I expect or Mr. Smith expects in class, and that is the standard of work that we should be seeing, That is most of you, So this is my part of the plan. So I'm up to where Fishlegs sneezed inside the cave and I held my breath. Everyone stood still. The dragons began to stir. And I don't mean stirring the pot. I mean waking up. And the tribe ran for their lives whilst the dragons began to open their eyes. And Fishleg complained that he did not have a dragon, so Hiccup returned to the mouth of the cave and grabbed the first one he could. So that's my plan that I've looked at. I've looked at my success criteria, and now I have wrote down my next paragraphs. So, standing inside the cave, we looked around to see the rest of the tribe searching for that perfect dragon. I bundled mine into my bag and slung it over my back. Such relief. Fishlegs, my trusted friend, approached me and was just opening his mouth to whisper when, not one, but five shrill sneezes filled the cave. I held my breath and looked around, waiting for the calamitous creatures stirring. But there was no time to wait. I needed to run. Fishlegs followed. His face crumpled as he whispered, "I haven't got a dragon." I looked at him and darted back into the cave. I didn't have time to think about it. I grabbed the first beast I lay my eyes on and raced back to the others. So there you can see I haven't highlighted everything this time, I've used words like bundled instead of I put mine into my bag. I bundled mine into my bag. Sounds much better. I've got a fronted adverbial of place. I've got a simple sentence. I've got fish legs, and then I've got my trusted friend in brackets because I'm giving you, as my reader, more information about fish legs because I haven't told you about him before. Okay? I've used calamitous creatures. Look at my absolutely amazing word there. Okay, and I've got my correctly punctuated direct speech. Instead of saying I went back into the cave, I darted back. So it is a lot better, and it's entertaining you as the reader. I think I'm wasted. I should be an author. Anyway, so now you need to have a look at your next part of your plan that you have got sectioned off for today. Okay, there's the success criteria that you need to use. Okay, I've gone through them. Remember, expanded noun phrases, that is an adjective and noun. Okay, so the silly sausage. Okay, could be alliteration where the two words begin with the same letter. It could be evil Edna. It could be ridiculous Ruby. Okay, so now you need to pause the video until you have finished and you're ready for maths. Good luck. Okay, so you're ready for your maths. Okay, so it's Spring 2 Challenge 4. I know this seems a lot, but it's just waking up your brain. Okay, so if you have a look at task 1, it asks you to work out the area and the perimeter of each of those shapes. Can you remember how to work out the perimeter? It is all the way round, yeah? And the area, you can either count each square or you can work out how many are long and how many up and multiply those two numbers together. Task 2. Right now, I don't know, I haven't really taught you this, but hopefully you might know. And it's to circle which measurement is the most appropriate for the object. So, for instance, okay, if you were to measure the table, would you measure it in millimeters? Would you measure it in centimeters? Or would you measure it in meters? Or would you measure it in meters and centimeters? Now, if you can imagine your school ruler, and I give you one all right at the beginning of the term, didn't I? Well, of our home learning. You've got centimeters, and each centimeter is broken down into 10 millimeters. A millimeter is tiny, right? So think about that. A centimeter is about that big. Okay, so have a think. Kilo, as in kilometer, means 1,000 meters. If it's a kilogram, it means 1,000 grams. Okay, so if you have a look at the first one, and it says, what would I measure a book in? Would you measure it in millimeters? Would you measure it in kilograms or centimeters? The second one, what would I measure the length of a car in? Oh, millimeters, meters, or kilograms? Think about when you used kilograms. And what would I measure the height of a building in? Would that be kilometres, metres or centimetres? Have a good think. Then task 3 is calculate a half, then a quarter of each of the given numbers. So to find a half, you divide the number by 2 because that is your denominator. So if you can see on your fraction of a half, the denominator is 2. So you divide your number by 2 and you get 12. Now, if to find a quarter, there's 2 ways you can do it. You can divide your original number by 4, or you can half it and then half that again. So 40, half of 40 would be 20, and a quarter of 40, I would say 40 divided by 4, or I would say half of 40 is 20 and half of 20 is 10. It works out the same answer. Okay then, task 4. Answer the following addition questions using the column method. And that's giving you a bit of practice on the column method. You've then got to use these numbers here. How many ways can you make 112? Well, I would go 112. There you go. What other ways could you make 112? I found another way. Okay, and write down all the different ways. And task 5 is, can you complete the multiplication using your times table? Now, you don't need to write 30 multiplied by 4. I wouldn't even need to do a multiplication column because I know that 3 multiplied by 4 is 12, and I know that 30 is 10 times bigger than 3, so my answer is going to be 10 times bigger than 12. So 12 times 10 is 120. I know that 6 times 20 is 6 times 2 is 12, so 6 times 20 is 120. Okay? So have a go at all of those. So pause the video and come back to me, and then we'll go through our telling the time. Brilliant. Okay, so now we're going to tell the time to 5 minutes. And we sort of did this the other day, didn't we? Yeah? So we did this the other day. So we said that between every number there was 5 minutes. Yeah? So from 12 to 1 it was 5 minutes. Then from 1 to 2 it was, remember, what did we count in? We counted in 5s. So it's 5. What would number 2 be? It would be, and let's write this down because I've got new toys to play with. Couldn't do this before. So now I've got 10. Who can remember how many minutes from the o'clock to the 3 if we're counting in 5s? We've got 5, 10, and what would come next? 15. I'm sure you could do the same on your sheet. Okay? So what you need to do is you need to complete all the rest. Okay then, can you remember when we've talked about, because this is all consolidating, Okay, so from 12, from o'clock all the way to 6, it's past the hour. And from 6 to 12, it is to the next hour. So you have to do exactly the same. So it's 1 is 5 past, 2 would be 10 past, 3 would be either 15 minutes past, or it would be, what was the other time? Quarter past. Now, if I went to number 6, it is half past, 7. Now, we're not in the past sign, now we're in the to sign. So, how many minutes to the next hour? So we'll count 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. So this one here would be 20. Now, I don't think I'm going to be able to write 25 to. Okay? So if that's 25 to, that's 22. What was that one again? Can you remember? Yeah, quarter to. And I'm sure you can fill in the rest. Okay, so you have a little bit of a problem here. So if we have a look to see Ron there, yeah, there's Ron. And he's saying the hour hand is pointing just after 5 and the minute hand is pointing to 2. So the time is 2 minutes past 5. Can you tell me what mistake has Ron made? Because he's made the biggest boo-boo, hasn't he? Yeah? So what mistake has he made? So has he got the 5 part right? Yeah. It's the minute hand, isn't it? So tell me, when it comes to your turn, you need to say what mistake Ron has made. And then you need to write what time is on the clock. Okay? I'm not going to help you with these ones. All you need to do is write down what time is on each clock by filling in the boxes. And again, you need to write down what the times are. On this one, you have to draw the hands. So for 15 minutes past 6, I would say, right, what's 15 minutes past? Well, I know that's 5, 10, 15. So I'm going to draw my big hand, my minute hand, to the 3, that shows 15, and it says 15 minutes past, so it's 15 minutes past 6 o'clock. And remember, your hour hand isn't as long as your minute hand. You need to do the same with every other clock on that page. Okay then. Jack wants to tell the time, but oh no, the hour hand has fallen off the clock. Oh no. There are 12 different possible times it could be during a full day. Do you agree with Jack? And you have to write yes, because, or no, and tell me why. Okay? So remember, the hour hand has fallen off the clock. Okay, number 7. The minute hand and the hour hand of a clock are both pointing to an even number. Remember what an even number is? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, and so on. It is before midday. So does anyone know what time midday is? I'll give you a clue. Usually at midday when you are at school, you are just going into the hall. And why do you go into the hall? Because it's dinner time. It's 12 o'clock. So midday is 12 o'clock. What times could it be? So there's loads of different answers. Okay, so it's asking for 3. So let's have a think about it, shall we? The minute hand and the hour hand of a clock are both pointing to an even number. It is before midday. What times could it be? Well, I think it could be 10 minutes to 10. I think it could be 20 minutes to 10. Because they've both got to be an even number. Could it be 5 past 11? It couldn't be. Is 5 an even number? Is 11 an even number? Have a think. Okay, now it's your turn to do your task, please. Okay, so if you do your task, then and then you can come back to me for reading workshop. Okay then, so we have now finished our book of The Firework Maker's Daughter. I love this story. Would you recommend it to next year's year 4, so the year 3s? Would you recommend that we do it again? If you need to, reread chapter 7. Okay, and what I want you to do is answer these questions. So you need to use chapter 7 to answer these questions. So what ship did the firework makers arrive on? What's Signor Scorsini's speciality? How many visiting firework makers are there? What do they borrow for the fireworks? And why is Hamlet so sad? Why does the official stop timing? Okay, so you've got to find out the answers. Once, if you've read chapter 7, you'll need to read it again if you don't know. Can I have full sentences, please? Okay, so our geography. Brilliant. So we've been learning about tornadoes. Can you remember how tornadoes are formed? Have a look back at your sheet where you did your story map and your sentence, and that will remind you. Okay, so what you need is your pack, okay? And you need to turn to the page where it says what to do during a tornado. So pause the video now until you've found that. Brilliant. So you've got that. So it tells you what you need to do if there is a tornado coming. And remember, this is very, very rare in Great Britain. It's usually in America, isn't it? Yeah. So the first rule is if you know that a tornado is coming, you get yourself underground. Or if you can't get underground, find a room without any windows. Stay out of mobile homes. That's like caravans. Do not hide in your bathroom. Now I'm wondering why. I wonder if you can find that out for me. Go to the nearest sturdy building if you are driving. So that means a strong building, a one that's not going to fall over if you just blink at it. Okay? And remember to stay away from windows. Take action before you see the tornado. So usually, if a tornado is on its way, the people will get a siren. Something will come over the radio or on the television saying that a tornado is on its way. So they will get warned. Okay, so you've got to do these things before you actually see the tornado. And if you're outdoors, find a building or a basement. Okay? And that means, so do not, that is the worst thing you could do, is to stay outdoors. If you were driving and you were in the middle of nowhere and there was nothing, what this still suggests is that you stay in your car with your seatbelt on and you hunch down, you crawl right down so you're away from the windows. Now, I wonder why you have to be away from the windows. Remember, this wind is really, really strong. So what could happen to the glass? You've got it. It would break, wouldn't it? So then that would mean that if the windows smashed, the glass smashed, you wouldn't be hurt. And a lot of the time you could be sucked out. So on the back of that sheet, or on a piece of paper, whichever you want to do, you are asked to make a poster. Okay? Now the poster it's asking you to design a poster for us to send to the American government. Okay? And they are going to choose the best ones and they're going to print them and put them all the way around America. So what do you need to do if a tornado strikes? Okay, so you're going to design a poster for people living in Tornado Valley. Okay, now for it to be a good poster, it's got some top tips or success criteria. Okay, so it's got make it eye-catching, so it needs to stand out. So it needs to be colourful as well. Big letters, small letters, pictures, plenty of geographical information. So you could use the word tornado, you could use the word vortex. Okay? It's saying use tips given by the Red Cross, which are the ones that I've given you, and you are trying to save lives. So think about what you're going to put at the top of your poster to grab people's attention, because if they all look very similar, people will just walk past and they just won't be bothered. Okay, so you have got to grab your attention. You know, like the signs on the big billboards where they're advertising. Yeah, you always look at them because they're colourful, they're big. Okay, so enjoy the rest of the afternoon after you've finished that. Okay, if you do want to do something else, you could go onto your very back page where it says a disaster supplies kit, and on that sheet, what I would think of, what would you take if you were going underground, or you were going in a basement, or in a room that's got no windows? What do you think you would take with you? So I might take my mobile phone so that I could get in touch with my family if I was able to. I might take in a book. I might also take in some blankets and a cushion and cushions and things to be comfortable. Okay? And what about food and water and drinks? Okay? Because you could be in there for a little bit of time. Okay? So anyway, enjoy the rest of the afternoon, and I will see you on Friday, and goodbye.